I'm Wyatt Cash at Scoop News Group, and we're here at Fed Talks with Lynn Chamberlain, CEO and President of Azusa Rancher Government Solutions. Lynn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wyatt. It's great to be here.
Well, let's start by asking, in your opinion, what's the biggest storyline in federal IT over this past year?
I think it's the same in commercial in the IT space. It's COVID, right? Everybody's talking about. But specifically the ability for government employees, many of whom normally have worked in SCIFs majority of their time, being able to work remotely and securely. The government workers need, just like the rest of us, be able to access their normal services, right? They need to be able to email, they need to chat, video conferencing, whether it's Teams, Zoom, whatever. They need to be able to access not only from their homes or wherever they're working from, but they need to access it securely and being able to do so. So that's one of the things that we'll see during this whole federal IT over the past year. Rancher has been able to help this tremendously by the respect that we've been making it easier for people to move their applications. So we've been able to help them lift and shift from an application that was only on-prem, and we've been able to move it to the cloud. And in many cases, from the location, wherever the customer is, whether the government is or the employee is. So if they're remote, whether at a Starbucks, whether at their home, they've been able to do it securely. And that's what we've been able to provide for them. So we also talk about, when we talk about secure facilities, we also talk about low side and high side development. So we at Rancher are enabled to idempotent deployment experiences through standardizing on open APIs. And we do that so they can build their software, whether I mentioned earlier in a coffee shop or at home, but they can build their software and then they can expect that the potency of to migrate it into the workforce, either on the low side and then be able to address it to the high side.
Well, speaking of security, the nation obviously faced a significant uptick in cybersecurity attacks this past year. How can the federal government, in your estimation, lead the way to protect information and national interests against many of our adversaries?
So Wyatt, a great question. If you take a look at President Biden's recent executive order on improving the nation's cybersecurity, he's mandated multi-factor authentication. So zero trust and encryption is probably the best start to do that. One of the most important things is protecting the supply chain. I mean, we have to do that first and foremost. If we look at that, Kubernetes and Rancher, our company in particular, does this very well. We make it so that we can automate the supply chain, and we do that through DevSecOps, so that we can allow you to build from known sources and scan the code to make sure there's nothing that's been introduced to check the code or to make sure and verify that there is no malicious code as part of the supply chain process. And once we do that, then we can package it up and we're able to deliver it to whoever is using it. And we're able to deliver and ensure that the pipeline at that point from the supply chain is very secure. So protecting the supply chain is critical, and Rancher is an important part of doing that in the government's mission.
So next, how would you characterize the pace and success of federal digital transformation efforts today compared to maybe just the past couple of years? And what do you attribute that to?
Well, the same thing, we go back to COVID, right? So the COVID has really aggressively pushed digital transformation. It's funny, for the longest time, government said, we have to work in the office. That's critical. We have to be in a secure facility. That's critical. And then what's happened, and we have to be face-to-face with whoever we're working with, whether it be other government officials, whether it be our partners, whether it be people that are selling to us. That was critical. But then, what happened? COVID happened. And all of a sudden that all went out the door, right? And out the window. And so what we saw from my perspective is that the industry after COVID kind of was forced in to working from home, which we all did, But if you really look at it, we didn't change in the success that we had. Most companies, most industries made their numbers or exceeded their numbers during COVID. So it just showed that working from home or in other areas, not at the office, didn't matter. Same thing with the government. If we look at the whole digital transformation, we were able to accelerate a lot of activities that we were doing with the government. If you're looking at, and we talked about zero trust under Biden's administration, one of the things he's looking at, we were able to accelerate security. DevSecOps, all of a sudden you went from DevOps to DevSecOps, and that meant security was built into all of our operations and the development. And with that, many of us then were able to change quickly, and that's what we really saw happen during the whole course of COVID.
And then lastly, Lynn, and maybe on a slightly more personal note, what in the federal technology landscape most excites you in the days and months to come?
So Wyatt, I've been in the open source community longer than I want to tell you about, but I will tell you that it's most how we obtain technology and how we access it. In the past, you had to sign up for licenses. You had to create procurements just to be able to evaluate software. That's really changed. The barrier of entry now is so low. Not only the established professionals can get access to software that they need, but emerging engineers has provided the opportunity for them to accelerate their innovation faster because they're able to access technology tools, libraries, and they can obtain all this information very quickly and not have to go through a procurement cycle. We're also seeing increase in choice. If you looked up till recently, it was going to be one single company, like if JEDI, that was going to provide cloud. That's not the case anymore. You have access to a lot of different companies that provide cloud environments. Today, there's 4 that I think of is, you think of AWS, Azure, Oracle, and Google. And if you really think of it, there's a 5th one is on-prem. So with the hybrid capabilities today, people have access to their information and their data from anywhere. And then they can work in hybrid environments so you aren't limited to one environment. And so I would say that the development of today's technologies enables the workforce for tomorrow by accessing information much faster and allows them to grow quickly.
Well, some great points. Lynn Chamberlain, thank you so much for joining us here at Fed Talks and sharing some of your insights on the government IT landscape.
Thank you, Wyatt. It's nice to be here.